Have you ever heard of a war so brutal, so all-consuming, that it literally almost erased a country from existence? Well, between 1864 and 1870, that's exactly what happened right in the heart of South America. This is the story of the Paraguayan War, a conflict that pushed an entire nation to the very edge of extinction. Let's dig into how something this catastrophic could ever happen.
Look at this number, 90%. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around, right? That is the estimated percentage of Paraguay's adult male population that was killed by the end of this war. Think about that for a second. Only 1 in 10 survived.
So, that brings us to the big question we're going to try and answer here. How does this happen? What kind of perfect storm of bad decisions, bad luck, and sheer brutality leads to a demographic collapse on this scale? The answer, it turns out, is a story about geography, power, and some of the most ferocious fighting you can imagine. To really get this war, you have to first understand the map of 19th century South America. And on that map, pretty much everything, power, money, survival, it all came down to water. Okay, this right here is Paraguay's big fundamental problem. It's a landlocked country. It's totally boxed in by 2 absolute giants, Brazil to the north and Argentina to the south. Every single thing that Paraguay wanted to buy from the world or sell to the world had to travel down rivers that were controlled by its neighbors. Its entire existence, its economy, its survival, really, depended on them being in a good mood.
You know, in an age before highways and airplanes, the Paraná and Paraguay rivers, they were the superhighways of the continent. They were total lifelines. And here's the crazy paradox of Paraguay's situation. It was sitting right in the middle of this crucial river network, but it had no control over the doorways to the sea. Now, add to that mix some really blurry disputed borders and a super unstable political situation down in Uruguay, and what you have is a powder keg just waiting for a match.
And that spark came in 1864. A civil war kicking off in Uruguay, hundreds and hundreds of miles away, was about to drag Paraguay into a fight that would completely seal its fate. So how did this whole thing blow up so fast? Let's walk through it. Brazil gets involved in Uruguay's civil war. Paraguay's president, a man named Francisco Solano López, sees this as a huge threat. I mean, if Brazil and its allies control Uruguay, Paraguay is completely surrounded. So he makes a big move. He captures a Brazilian ship. It's a daring gamble. But then when he asks Argentina for permission to cross their land to go fight Brazil, and they say no, López makes what many historians call his fatal mistake. He declares war on Argentina too. And just like that, Paraguay isn't fighting one giant anymore. It's fighting 2 plus Uruguay. The Triple Alliance is born, and they sign a secret treaty with the goal of not just winning, but carving up Paraguay for themselves. With the battle lines drawn, the war began for real. And as it turned out, just a handful of key battles would end up deciding everything. The first major disaster for Paraguay happened at sea. At the Battle of Riachuelo, the Brazilian Navy, with its modern, powerful ironclad ships, just completely wiped out the Paraguayan fleet. This was the point of no return. From this moment on, Paraguay was totally blockaded, trapped inside its own borders, with no way to get supplies, no way to get weapons, nothing from the outside world. After the disaster on the water came an absolute inferno on land, the Battle of Tuyutí. This was the single biggest and bloodiest battle ever fought in South America. We're talking more than 50,000 soldiers clashing in a swamp. In just one day of brutal, almost suicidal charges against the superior Allied firepower,